these two people turned up, and the guy came at the front and the lady came at the back. But what it was Peter, we were driving home and I was feeling really, really nauseated by the time we left. And Peter, I said to Rick, there's someone in the back. And Rick goes, yeah, nah. And I went, yeah, there is. Someone's in the back. And I was feeling really, really sick. Like, I don't normally feel overly ill in places, but I was feeling really, really sick, and I'm rummaging through my bag trying to find all my crystals and stuff. My bracelet broke as soon as I got out of the car.
Oh, that's a good sign.
Yeah, but the clasp, the clasp, and I fixed it, and then the clasp broke, and then the link fell out, and I couldn't, so I had it tied around my wrist. And I thought, well, someone doesn't want me to wear this, so I'm just going to say F you and wear it anyway. So, and I got in the cemetery and I went, yeah, I don't like it here. Ew, yuck. And then, yeah, he's over there.
Mm.
And then, I'll laugh that happened. And then, as we walked down the middle, for me it felt stronger. So it wasn't the front half of the cemetery where we were, the side where we were. As soon as we hit the back of the chapel, that's when it went. I went, yeah, I don't like it here. It was like it was radiating through the cemetery, but as soon as we hit the back of the chapel, I was like, yeah, this isn't good. And Rick's hands are shaking, and I could see all the unmarked graves. I could see all the marker angels, and I could see the vortex. And as we got closer to the vortex, I actually stood in the middle of the vortex, and my sight went all funny, and I nearly fell over, which doesn't normally happen with me with vortexes, because normally I'm pretty solid with them. And my vision went all weird, like it does before I have a seizure, and I literally could not move. I'm standing there, my brain is telling me this is bad, I need to move, and I literally could not move from that spot. And so Sir Robert, my guide, pipes up and he goes, my lady, you're going to have to move. You need to move. My lady, move. And he kind of gave me a bit of a shove. It was kind of, oh yeah. So I took a step to the side, and then I moved out of where I was. But that's when you see me on the video and I could see all the orbs. And I literally look like a crazy person on that video because I'm watching things. But there were orbs, and there were orbs which you normally see, and then there were like people's faces, and there were faces floating behind Rick. And the sky looked like it was raining glitter. Yeah, he's over there.
Mm.
He's listening. And the sky looked like it was raining glitter, and there were all these faces, and there were women, and there were men, and there were children, and they were all looking really, really, really distraught. And the sky, the only way I can describe it, was all glittery. It was, the energy was all movement, everything was moving, and it was so busy. And so I stepped away from there, and Rick was going on saying how his hands were feeling really heavy and stuff. We got to a couple of the graves, and one of the graves I walked up to, I felt the need to step on the grave, and I knew that wasn't what I should be doing. And I put my stick on it, and I could see it was a gigantic crypt, and I wasn't standing on that. So I moved, and then there was another grave that was next to it that didn't feel real flash, and then there was one behind it which I really didn't like, so I pushed forward. We went down the corner, and then Rick found the ones that were the nuns. Yeah, I didn't like those either, so I stepped back. Trying to find a little spot where I can feel a little bit,
okay.
okay. And I stepped back away from the nuns' graves, and I leant on the side of the chapel. I went, yeah, that doesn't feel good either. So we're walking down here, and and Rick's hands were shaking to this point now, and we were going to do a rod session, and I didn't feel comfortable with the rod session, and he didn't feel comfortable with the rod session.
I could hardly hold the camera.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, my whole body was just shaking.
Yeah,
my arms were shaking, and my arms just felt so heavy, like they were getting pulled down.
And so there was a grave that I was drawn to do a rod session, but I couldn't find the motivation. Normally when I'm drawn to do a rod session, there's somebody there, or my guides are telling me there was something. there was no reason for me to do the rod session. And when that's happening, I don't do it because there's usually something trying to influence me to talk to me, and I didn't want to do that. So we went to walk. We go, okay, I said to Rick, I really want to get out of here. I really, really, really just don't want to be here.
Meanwhile, the K2 was going off its nut.
Yeah.
So it was like...
So I was making a beeline for the fan, and BB kept stirring in my arms. She kept shuffling, and yeah, she's not meant to do that. She's not meant to move on her own, but she does. And she kept shuffling, and she kept whinging, and she kept trying to. I could hear her telling things to go away and leave her alone and stuff. So I was kind of pulling her in, and we notice the guy pull up, and then we get we get I don't know not less than a metre maybe from the fence, and I see this white car pull up. And the lady gets out of the car, and Rick opens the gate. I said to Rick, we've got to go. So shuts off the camera. We open the gate. There's a lady putting her jacket on, and she's looking dead at me. And she's looking at BB, and she's looking at me. And Rick goes, oh, it's a really cold day or something. And she just stares at us and says nothing. And she's like, oh. And I went, okay. So I put BB in the car, and she was trying to work out whether BB was a real baby, because that's that first glance thing that people do with BB. You've seen people do that. And the lady walks in the gate, closes the gate behind her, walks in, stops, watches me. At that point, my bracelet fell off again, which had been on the whole time I was in the cemetery. And then she turns and walks towards the back of the cemetery. Meanwhile, the guys come right across the cemetery, like right across the cemetery from the front. And he's gone behind the hedge where I can't see. And I said, well, maybe they're visiting a grave. This is the new part of the cemetery. And then I noticed, I kind of looked around and saw that they were just standing in the cemetery watching us. They were literally standing, trying to look inconspicuous, watching us. And I'm like, well, that's weird. And that's when Rick did the bit on the video about, and I'm like, I just want to go. And I was getting agitated. I don't know why, but I just didn't want to be there. Anyway, we drove off, and I wasn't feeling great. And then we stopped further up the road for us to do a little spiel, and that didn't record. The only bit of it recorded was BB. And if you have seen the video, she wasn't impressed. She was not having it. She wasn't impressed. She doesn't want to go back. She made that perfectly clear. But it was about...
So?
She's saying, will you go then?
I don't know where it is.
Yeah. I'll take you. You wait, her head will spin around in a minute. And then we're driving along, and I said to Rick, there is someone in the car with us. We've brought someone back. And Rick's going, yeah, nah. And I went, yeah, there is. And I'm getting the image of a young teenage boy between 12 and 14, probably around 13, skinny as, this little skinny kid. He's got dark skin, but he's not dark to be indigenous. He's not like Italian and then I asked him, was your mother indigenous? And he said yes. Was your father white? And he said, my father was Irish. So we had...
You can't get any whiter.
No, exactly. And so we had a young boy of mixed racial parents in the back of the car, and he was terrified.
Well, actually, that big headstone right at the front of the chapel,
I didn't see that.
That was the guy from Tipperary.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to read that because I was getting bad vibes from the chapel. I just wanted to I read the thing on the chapel.
Could be a connection there.
Anyway, as we were driving, I tried to get my rods out while we were in the car, but I was feeling really, really sick. I really didn't. I had a massive headache. I'm trying to find all my beads and trying to ground, and I can't ground. And then I realised that it wasn't mine that I was feeling. It was his. And I said, could you give me your name? And I got Peter straight away. And he went, okay. I said, okay, is your name Peter? And he told me it was. I said, your mother was Indigenous and your father was Irish, is that correct? And he went, yes. I said, did you go to and he was showing me all these images while we were driving, which was really hard because I don't travel well, and channeling while I'm in a car is probably not the best thing for me. But he was telling me that he wanted to come with us. He was hiding. And I said to him, well, who are you hiding from? What are you hiding from? And he said, the man with the stick and the goat face. And I went, okay. He said, the man with the stick and the goat face. And I said, can you show me who you were? You know, can you show me who you're hiding from? And I got this image in my head that stayed in my head literally until we got home. And when we got home, I lit about 6 cones of white sage incense. The house was full of smoke, but it was the only way I didn't feel sick. And I had one sitting over near the K2 meter, and that was the one, because he was flashing the K2 meter while we were having dinner. And that calmed his farm, but I had 6 cones of incense. I just kept lighting them because I just felt so ill and I knew it wasn't mine. And he said, I'm hiding from the man with the big stick and the goat face. And the image I got was a tall man with a very long, solid piece of wood. He had something, he was in black. He had something embroidered on the front of his shirt. And he had a goat face, but it was a skeleton. It was a skull. It wasn't fleshy, it was a skull.
He said also he had a collar, like a priest's collar.
He had a priest's collar on. So he had this skull and he had these great big horns, but he had a white collar, and he had a white collar on like a priest. And he had this great big stick. And Peter was petrified, and he didn't want to show me, and I'm like, okay, you can't hurt me, it's fine. And I said, why are you scared of him? And then Rick asked him, was he a teacher? And Peter said, yes, this is all why we're driving. And Peter said, yes. I said, are you hiding from the teacher? And I'm trying to figure out what I'm seeing, because I'm trying to work out whether it's an elemental, which can look scary to kids, or whether it's something a little bit darker. And the vibe I got when I got this full-blown image was something that it was very, 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 very dark.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Yeah, very dark. And so we told him he could come with us and he was safe. And he's been wandering around the house for the last couple of days. And, like, he was safe and he can stay with us. And the other thing I got from him, that he was hungry.
Yeah, he wasn't looked after very well.
And I said to him, did the priests look after you? Were they the ones who took care of you? And he went very quiet and he kind of withdrew and he kind of nodded, but he didn't want to admit it. I said, did the man with the goat face and the long stick, I said, did he hurt you? And he nodded. He said, but I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, fair enough. So my feeling is, I've seen darker sort of energies before. My feeling is that the human spirit, which was the teacher, the priest, had an attachment, or had an attachment
while he was alive.
He was alive, and
that's what he's saying.
Yeah, but it's also with that particular soul now. That soul is dead, and that's why I'm not seeing a fleshy skull. I'm seeing a fleshy face. I'm seeing a skull, because it's a negative energy, and I don't use the word demonic lightly, because
yeah, it's definitely demonic.
Yeah, it's a negative energy, a demonic energy attached to a human soul. But the human soul has died, and that demonic energy is still attached.
Well, the human has died, but the soul has been taken over by
the demonic.
Yeah,
the demonic energy.
And that's what we were feeling.
I feel like he was one of those. I don't feel like he was raised by his mum. He was taken away.
Yeah.
Like, because she was Indigenous.
Yeah.
And then
The
It,
church.
pregnant to
yeah.
a white man.
Yeah.
it really
Who's
sort of,
taken away.
it rings like
It feels like a
the
home.
old Catholic, you know,
Yeah.
the issues with the Catholic priests and
Did you see that?
churches and that.
Yeah. Did you?
Was that outside?
That was like your lights just flashed
Yeah.
outside.
Except they're not on.
Well, I thought I saw a flash too. There you go.
Okay, that's a bit weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Peter, are you still
Well,
here,
we all
mate?
saw it, so
Yep.
yeah, I feel like it's that type of thing where he was taken away from his mum and
Yeah.
Or to
Put
get
him
into the
like a group
priesthood
home.
type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that he's
they weren't looked at. He wasn't looked
no,
after.
No.
he's a very quiet sort of. He's
Yeah,
a very
he's been on the other side of that door, on and off, like
Yeah.
going up either side of that door.
Yeah. He's a little bit jumpy because I've had to rearrange the doll room.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah. Yeah. So, but the thing that I noticed,
Under your hat, buddy.
yeah, the thing, that's what I mean. The thing that I've noticed is, I noticed when we'd gotten home, I probably would have been in a worse state than I was if I didn't have my protection on. Because what I wear for protection is a Celtic cross
Yeah.
and a set of rosary beads.
Mm.
That's my protection, as well as
And his pearls.
the bracelet I had on. So considering it's got a kind of a
So do you reckon that demonic spirit is out there,
Oh, it's there. It's still,
Yeah.
it's still in the cemetery. Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
what this feeling is?
yeah. That's
It's
why.
Still in the cemetery.
Yeah, that's why when
So I wonder if it's there and it's stopping a lot of spirits.
Oh well,
Moving
it
over.
has to be because
Yeah.
the amount of spirit that we felt there.
yeah,
You know,
and what I saw,
and what
it
I
rem-
never saw.
it reminded me
It's just
of
incredible.
another case we had. We had another case in a cemetery, and I used to look up in the cemetery, and I could see an energetic dome over the top of the cemetery, which was stopping everything coming in, out, anything
Getting
going
out.
out. When I saw all of this glitter and stuff, that's sort of what I saw at this last cemetery.
So how
And-
do we get rid of it?
It's like just a lot of people stuck in that
Yeah,
cemetery.
and I said to Rick, I said, that felt better. That felt worse. That when we dealt with the demonic energy in the other cemetery, I called it the feral gollywog, because I flatly refused to give it a powerful name.
Mm.
So we were calling it the feral gollywog. I flatly refused to
But
give it
in
that
that
energy.
cemetery, that other cemetery, we removed 78 spirit.
Yeah,
We released 78 spirit
Yeah.
from being trapped in that cemetery.
yeah. I don't remember that night at all.
So how do we get rid of this one?
We do the same thing.
Well, we're not touching this one.
No, because
That's not for us.
I feel that the
It'll
two
clear
people.
itself
Yeah, I felt
over
that
time.
the two people that turned up.
Have something to do with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
They were
something
watching.
going on
Yeah,
because
they were watching
where they
us.
were standing was nowhere near any graves.
My feeling was they were coming to see what we were doing and to stop us from leaving. Because it was just weird. The guy
What do you
came
mean
from
stop you from leaving?
Well, the guy came
From
from
the
the front,
front,
of the
and the
cemetery,
woman
and
came at
woman
the back.
came from the back.
There's only two ways out of that
And we
cemetery,
were parked at the back.
and she
Ooh.
parked up right next to us.
And the guy was doing a beeline for us as
Yeah.
we were heading out towards the back.
Yeah,
And a woman came in from the back.
but she
But she never said anything.
no, she stood there, but she didn't confront us. But I got the feeling that that's what she was there to do. We weren't doing anything wrong. We were just walking around the cemetery. You know, we were videoing and walking.
But see, I felt that the guy was connected to...
I thought he was opening the chapel.
I think they're both connected to the
church.
cemetery.
Yeah.
But I think he was like... also had something to do with the caretaking of the chapel.
Yeah, I thought he'd come to open the chapel because it was Sunday. And,
Yeah.
You know, mass on Sundays.
And why did that just turn on?
Oh, that's probably Rhiannon. Somebody's done it.
TV's just turned on by itself.
Yeah. Somebody it does that a lot.
There you go.
Does that a lot. One of the spirit do it. I'm not sure which one does it. They take it in turns. Happens all the time when I'm up on mine. Someone will do it.
Well, the cat balls were flashing before, but
Yeah.
they're not flashing while we're talking.
No, he's kind of made a beeline for around. He's just on the
It's
other
on the
side
other
of
side
the door. He's just
Mm.
watching.
He
He's
just peeks out
Yeah,
every now and then.
yeah. I think he's in the I think he's hanging out in the dolly room at the moment. But
I think he likes Carla too.
yeah, I think he does too. Yeah.
It's Carla's rent, you know. his
Yeah.
age,
So
yeah.
the upshot is we've got a little spirit guest with us for a while
One of many.
till he settles down and crosses over.
Yeah. Can't take me anywhere. Actually, he followed you this time. That
He
wasn't
followed me.
Yeah, that wasn't my
because
fault.
he was hanging off
Yeah.
my arms.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
He was hanging
That
off
wasn't.
my
I didn't
arms.
do that this time.
Hmm.
It's normally me that brings them home.
Hmm.
I didn't do it this time. That was you. Can't
But
blame
it
me
was
for
a
that.
really odd feeling.
Yeah, I
mean,
didn't
It-
like
from
it.
the time I walked into the cemetery, I mean, it was cool, you know, but it wasn't cold, freezing cold or anything where you'd be shaking.
I didn't like
And
it.
as soon as we started walking through the gate and walking down the middle bit, I started shaking, and I just never stopped shaking until I got back to the car.
Yeah,
And I could hardly hold the camera straight.
I
It was just the
didn't,
weirdest of energies.
I
It was
didn't
the
like it.
awfulest feeling energy
Yeah, I
I
didn't.
felt for a long time.
I didn't like it as soon as we got out of the car. I'm saying to my guides, do I have to do this? It's like, yeah, you got to go. Why? You'll find something. I went, oh, all right. I didn't like it. I really didn't. And I didn't like the fact that when I was standing there, something was stopping me from moving. I didn't like that. And like I had, like,
Well, it sounds like a fairly
yeah,
powerful demonic.
I think I probably would have been.
Wouldn't want to be out there on my own.
No, I honestly think if I didn't have the protection on that I had,
Not a place to be at night time.
no.
Mm.
But if I didn't have the protection on that I had, and that particular protection, because I've got a Celtic cross and I wear my rosary beads, I think I probably would have come off a lot worse than just having a bit of nausea and a headache. I had a headache all afternoon, and I couldn't kick it, and my back was killing me. And when there is something negative, that's where they target, because
Yeah, your back, yeah.
that's where I'm injured. So my back, by the time I could not get out of the car, I couldn't move. Between the headache and the nausea and the pain, I wasn't in a good way. But I think I would have been in a lot worse if I hadn't had my protection and I hadn't done my gold. You know, my guides weren't going, well, you know, we got this and you need to move. And I couldn't move, and my guides were saying, you need to move. You need to shift. And I had my wand in my hair and everything, and I could not pull my wand out because I couldn't move. So, yeah. I'm picking the cemetery next time, because this is the second one you've picked that
Well,
feels
didn't
like
you
crap.
like my pick?
No!
I'm not
Was
going to the cemetery and Ben to go with him.
No.
We're staying home.
This is the second one.
No,
Remember
no,
the
I've
other
picked
one?
a better spot.
I'm not going.
I've picked 2 better spots on the way
We're
home.
still not going.
Oh, well, bad luck. We're going.
Yeah. I'm picking the next one, because that's the second one that's been feeling really off that you've
Oh,
picked.
I've heard of an awesome bridge at Scarsdale too.
Mm.
Yeah, one I didn't know about.
Okay.
We've got to do an investigation there. But anyway,
Okay.
yeah, apparently you can hear girls sort of screaming underneath the bridge.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Were you
Screaming, like, can you really hear them screaming? Or
Yeah,
is it
really
just
hear
something
them
that
screaming.
we're only going to be able to hear screaming? Because that will be fun.
Yeah. Well,
Apparently people have heard girls screaming. People hiking and whatever else through there.
awesome.
Mm.
Do you remember what my weekend was like a few weekends ago, where I was hearing things screaming?
Yeah,
Yeah, let's not.
okay.
It's
Geraldine
just like
and
a
I
big
will
black
go.
thing. Oh, yeah, thanks. If I'm going, you're going.
That's alright. Oh, you'd love it. You'd love it.
Well, if I'm going,
If I'm going, you're going.
Well, I'm going. She's going.
If I'm going, she's going.
Well, if she's going,
Yeah.
she's going.
Well, she can't go.
Well, if she's going.
Yeah.
Well, if you get one, I get one.
over there,
Okay.
so I'm not
Well,
going.
you can take her, and I'll
Right,
have that
right.
one.
She hasn't got
She's
that on her own.
she's the
I've
one.
got to have something I can throw at it.
Don't you throw her.
We'll carry a baseball bat.
Oh,